Howdy, everybody. Welcome to today's show. Howdy, everybody. Running a little behind, but it's okay. We'll get her done. Not too worried. I'm pretty chillaxed today. It's a good day to just be relaxed and not worried about too much. Let's give everybody a chance to get bundled in here. So we got 10 people in here so far. We'll wait till we get about 20 or 30 and then we'll start going, huh? But anyway, how's everybody doing? Go ahead and jump in the chat, say hi. Don't be afraid to comment. I might miss it, but I'll definitely do my best to keep up with everybody. Here, let me do one other thing here real quick. Let everybody know that I'm on. I've been doing a lot of chatting today, apparently. I'll scroll a long ways back to find. Alrighty. Paste. Paste. There we go. Sweet. Nice to see you, Sarah. Glad you could join us. Get some more people in here. It's kind of one of those things I don't want to start too early and have half the people not in here and everybody freak out. Hey, Rabbit Leader. Welcome to the party. You guys get to see me in partially scruffy stage here. I'm trying to decide if I want to grow this all the way out or not. Figure I'll let it go for a few days and see what it does. Get rid of the baby face look after a few decades, you know. All right, how we doing here? Yeah, we're up to 20. That's good enough. Okay, well, today is mapping. Well, not just mapping. Today we're doing islands. Now, this is one that a lot of people probably don't even realize I've done, but I actually have put a ton of work into this. If you think my Antarctic stuff took a lot of work, yeah, not compared to this. This was a big one. Basically, what I did is I took and I identified as many privately owned islands as I could in the world, and I tagged them, I marked them. I've also got a spreadsheet that I utilize that I need to go find real quick. I just realized I didn't have it handy. That basically allows me to look to determine whether or not it's got a resort on it, whether it's inhabited, whether it's got a helipad, a dock, an airstrip, whether it can accept a submarine. And that just reminds me, I need to change one here that I had not done. Water. It gets a big old Y now. Save. Basically what it does is it allows us to get a pretty good solid link and see who owns what, see where it is. Now, the other thing that I've tried to do is I've tried to associate boats, planes, jets, helicopters, tail numbers, boat names, things like that, where I could find them. Let me me get you over to the screen share so you can see what I'm talking about. So basically, this is it. This is what we have. Now you see I've got this broken up into like the Caribbean. We got the Bahamas, Haiti, Florida Keys, Virgin Islands, Eleutheria Island, which has multiple people on it and parts on it, Belize, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Corey's Dig did a bunch of islands as well. I've got them marked on the map, but I haven't gone any further with that. That was her deal. Hawaii, Fiji. This is the Madeira archipelago. Hate that word. Up here in the Pacific Northwest, there's a lot of stuff. Brazil, East Coast, the Mediterranean, Russia, England, Middle East, and Australia. So we've got all those that, to go through. And yes, there is that many different islands that are privately owned throughout the world. And these are just the ones that I've found readily by looking online. Now let's go to our favorite spot here. Howdy, Joyce. Good to see you. Let's start off with Caribbean. Okay. Now, the Caribbean is obviously of great interest, mainly because we have this little grouping of islands right here. Now, Little St. James is obviously the one that everybody's... Wow. You're really hacking that together image-wise. You're playing games. Little St. James, a.k.a. Epstein Island, is the one everybody's always interested in. And as you can see from the overhead view, it's got all the stuff. I'll take the markers off. The odds of the marker right in the middle of the sundial. Anyway. You can see we've got Little St. James here. This is Greater St. James here. And Epstein also owned this as well. And as you can see, he was starting to turn it into another version of Little St. James. He was turning it into something similar to what this was going to be, just on a larger scale. That's pretty interesting. If you see some of the early pictures of Little St. James, it looked very similar to this, where they had just kind of sort of carved out the pathways and where they were going to start laying stuff out, so there was obviously bigger plans afoot for this island that they were working on. But anyway, so we got the St. James Islands there, and that's both were owned by Epstein. I'm not sure about this little bugger here. That one's kind of interesting because it's got kind of this. It's an interesting one. I'll have to dig into that a little bit more. Over here we have Water Island, which is populated by more than one person. It's not singularly owned. It's owned by a group of people. But the thing about Water Island that's interesting is supposedly there was a submarine base, a World War II submarine base on the island. And that's what makes everybody interested. Now, for those that aren't aware, Water Island is the one that was owned by the Bidens until fairly recently, just a couple of years ago. They sold it off. I hesitate to say right before the election, right before he announced his run for the election, but the timing is a little strange there. But anyway, hey RP, nice to see you. As far as the sub base goes, I don't know. See anything real obvious? I'll have to do some more digging on that too. I kind of haven't done much with the islands for quite a while. Now, the thing about these islands that's interesting is that we're talking, they are only, these two islands are only not, call it 9 miles apart. Okay. That's not very far. I mean, let's say you've got one of those little, underwater subs like Ghislaine Maxwell was notorious for being able to use. 9 knots is not that slow. I mean, it's not that unreasonable, and it can move pretty silently at those speeds. That's an hour trip. It's not that bad. Now we get up here. We've got Norman Island. We've got Peter Island. A little further up, Guana Island. We have Mosquito Island. Huh. That pattern looked pretty familiar. All these wandering little things with beach houses and stuff. Then we've got Necker Island, which is conveniently covered by a cloud. Let me see if I can get some different imaging here. Aha, there we go. Necker Island. Okay, now Necker Island is the one that's owned by Richard Branson. Let me see if I can find some really updated stuff here. Looks more cloudy than not down there. As you can see, he's got quite a bit of stuff here. It's not quite as pathy and wind around as the other one is, but still not bad. Now, Necker Island also has a submarine, one of those tourist type submarines available to it too. Hey, Tombstone, good to see you, man. But anyway, and I would assume that Mosquito Island is also similarly equipped. And like I say, as you can see, Mosquito's got some distortion from the camera, but you can see it's got much of that same windy path with the stuff and at the almost temple-like look, elsewhere. Although this is much more resort looking as far as, there's multiple little buildings in each spot and things like that. I really think Branson's was much more commercial than not, but, Branson also is, I don't know, there's things. So if we were to take and do our little navigator from here to here, pardon me, near at about 35 miles. Now, and again, at about 9 knots, which I would assume is probably the very, very low end. I would assume that most of them could do probably 10 to 20 knots. So let's say 15. That's a 2-hour underwater journey if somebody wanted to be surreptitiously moving people around. There's other ways that you can do it too. I mean, a chopper would do that very easily. The yachts that these folks own, they could pile 50 or 100 kids into the lower area of one of those yachts and nobody'd ever know. So I mean, this is the kind of thing that was kind of leading my thought process on this is let's see who owns what and let's identify it. And let's look at their yachts. Let's look at their planes. Let's look at all this stuff and let's see if we can establish patterns. So that was the impetus behind this whole dig, was to see if I could create an idea of a different network of the way stuff is moved. I mean, we know that Ghislaine Maxwell has her Terramar thing, which was the high seas thing. And so much can go on out there out in the water that you just it's just so much that you can't lay your finger on, and just really, really, really gets to be pretty screwy. So, I mean, everything that's got an orange marker has somebody that owns something there. So, I mean, we can back out and we can start to get a feel for how much, I mean, how many of these islands have something. I mean, we can look here. I mean, we got Johnny Depp, we've got the Rothschilds, we've got Copperfield, Faith Hill to McGraw, Eddie Murphy, Peter Nygard. Hey, remember that name not long ago? Nicolas Cage. Cruise lines. I mean, we know that the cruise lines are involved in this, especially Disney. I mean, we got a bunch of cruise lines here. Here's an island owned by Disney Cruises. Jay-Z, Beyonce. I mean, Illuminati King and Queen. John Malone. I don't remember who he is. This is the Fry's, if I remember right, like Fry's Electronics. Tyler Perry, Stephen Harrington, Shakira, Roger Waters, Ed Bosarge, which is another name that's come up recently. Royal Caribbean Cruises, Nick Hexum, I think he's a musician of some sort. Epstein, the Bidens. We got Larry Page from Oracle, if I remember correctly. Or no, that's Ellison. Larry Page is Brendan Page is Google. Richard Branson, Dr. Henry Jarecki. Now he's an interesting one. Look him up sometime. The Amway founder family has one. Just leave it at that. Lenny Kravitz, again, another cruise line. Francis Ford Coppola. Well, we know his thing. Bill Gates. Need I say more? Norwegian. Leonardo DiCaprio. Philip Stevenson. Maxwell and others. I mean, this is like a who's who of the cabal and who's involved in all this human trafficking. And we know this. And it's just, and like I say, I'm just surprised that this has not gotten more traction, because there's a lot of damning potential evidence here that if we were to start piecing it together, it would be just incredible. Larry Ellison, Mel Gibson, which we know Mel's probably a pretty good guy. I'm not sure who that is. Jim Janner was the founder of Oakley. We've got the Bronfman family here with Wakaya. Steven Spielberg. Gene Hackman, I think, is clean. I think he pretty much went there to just disappear. But then we've got Oprah, Paul Allen, who we know was Microsoft co-founder, Craig McCaw, who I don't know if any of you know McCaw Wireless. He was really, really big for 80s and 90s, up in the 2000s. He sponsored Indy cars or Formula One cars. I mean, big money. Disney family owns an island up there. The British royal family. If you're not familiar with Scott Island, if you've heard the story about the British royal family being charged with child kidnapping and murder and not being allowed back on Canadian soil or something like that, Scott Island is where that occurred. And again, Jim Jannard from Oakley had an island up there. Now, Keytron, which is down in the Sound a little ways, is owned by a guy named Gary Lundgren. Keytron being the one where the Q400 plane crashed. Ricky Martin has an island in Brazil. The guy that owns Segway, Dean Kamen. Celine Dion. I mean, do we even need to ask about her? I mean, she's gone from looking pretty damn good to looking like a skin bag of bones with skin sprayed on her. She's gone just horrid. Louis Moore Bacon, Ted Turner. I mean, we all know which side of the fence Ted Turner falls, especially with Jane Fonda as his wife. The DuPont family, one of the 13 bloodlines again. I mean, like I say, this is like a who's who of names that crop up when we're digging on other things. It's just astounding. The Ryboilevs, Ekaterina was, she's like some billionaire heiress. The Emir of Qatar, he's got a bunch of islands here in the Mediterranean. Rudolf Nureyev, Gianni Agnelli, he's one of the chairmen of Fiat Chrysler. Beatrice Borromeo, she's another billionaire heiress. That's somewhere, I believe, in Italy. Johnny Depp once again. We got another Rothschild. We got Naomi Campbell. Roman Abramovich, the Barclay brothers, the George and Amal Clooney. Bear Grylls, I think, he's okay. He just has his island where he goes to do his thing to stay sharp. Down in the Middle East, we've got the stuff that's down by Dubai. We've got the Pam Anderson, Michael Schumacher, MSC Cruises. In Australia, Branson owns another island called Makepeace Island. So I just wanted to kind of, so you can see the names, so that you associate every one of these spots as being owned by most likely one of the Cabal members. Now, when you look at it in a little bit bigger picture, it starts to get a little overwhelming. Now, let me add in the ones that Corey's Digs had added. All those black spots are ones that she had added that were part of the Clinton 21 initiative, which was an initiative about power generation that turned into some sort of big scam, and there was child trafficking involved in it. So you put all of that together. I mean, that's just incredible. Oh, how did I do that? Huh. That was wild. I don't want to do that again. So anyway, I mean, that's just in the Caribbean. That's just down there. I mean, what is there? Probably 40 or 50 different ones. I mean, just imagine them being able to just island hop. They don't even have to do much. It's not like they got to fly from across the world to one spot. They can just bring them from like Florida, and they can island hop them almost in small boats all the way to wherever they want to go. I mean, it's just astounding. It's just mind blowing. And that's part of the reason why I think the Caribbean's been known as a smuggling centerpiece for decades, I mean, hundreds of years, because of the way the islands are laid out. You can almost island jump. So let's move on to the rest of the world here. Now we've got some stuff up here. St. Philip's, which was Ted Turner. Ile Gagnon. I think I said that right. I don't know. I don't do French very well. That's Celine Dion's deal. She's got an island right here in the middle of oh, there it is right there. That looks I don't know. I mean, that doesn't look like much. I mean, looks more like a place to get away and do stuff than a place to get away and escape. Let's move over here to the northwest, so you guys can get a feel for this. Keytron Island is obviously that island that we all know about. It's way down south down here, down by Tacoma. This is, again, where the Q plane crashed down here at the southern end of the island. It actually crashed. Well, I'm going to say you can almost see the crash path right there. Yeah, this is newer imagery. This used to be completely forested, so I'm betting that's right where it went down, is right there. So, I mean, there's houses on the island. It's not like it's uninhabited. An old ferry dock there that's been, well, not docked, beached. It's been there. I think it's called the Ilwaco. It's been there forever. Kind of a sore. And there's some high dollar houses over here. Gotta look at that shitty thing looking across the street. Anyway, McNeil Island is home to a correction center. So, I mean, that's a really lovely area down there. We come up the Sound a ways, Seattle, Bellevue, Bremerton. I mean, if any of you have watched any of my missile. Oh, are you asking, Jane, which island are you talking about? You have to be specific because there's a delay. Celine Dion's or Keytron? We'll wait for Jane to respond here. take a drink here. Plane crash. Okay, size of the plane crash island. Keytron. Let me get the measuring stick out so you can see. I'm not even going to go miles because this is a feet measure. Well, it's just over a mile long. It's about a mile and a half long by probably, what, a third of a mile wide. So it's not a very big island. It's pretty small. But anyway, so we move north here. There's Whidbey Island Naval Air Station. And then we get up into our stuff up here. Okay. Now, Allen Island is obviously where... Oh, James Island. Hang on for a minute here. I don't remember these all off the top of my head, so you'll have to forgive me. Okay, Craig McCaw. So Craig McCaw owned... Oops. That's Allen Island. There's James Island. So Craig McCaw owned this whole thing himself. Okay. I don't know if there was any development on it. It doesn't look like there was. Or if there was, it was minimal. Allen Island, he obviously had his own airstrip. Craig Allen was really big into airplanes. He has donated millions and millions of dollars. Payne Field, which is where the 747s are built, is right down here. And this right here, and you zoom in, you can see all these 777s and 747s, and there's some smaller ones there too. Probably 737s that they're running out of room to put elsewhere. There you see a partially completed plane sitting outside. This is where they build those. This is the Boeing assembly plant. But anyway, part of this is that he has a spot up here where he has a airplane museum, and they run a lot of classic planes out of there. In fact, you can see, I see this one flying around all the time. There's the Zero, there's the P-40. So, I mean, there's, as you can see, there's or no, that's a Spitfire, sorry. My rabbit leader is going to kill me now. I messed that one up. But anyway, so this is their hangars that they run out of. So, I mean, he had his own airfield because he was into planes and he flew all these planes around. So, I mean, there's not much there. It's not like there's a big hangar or anything. In fact, it looks like there's just an RV sitting there. Love to know how they got that there. But just a grass airstrip. That's it. Nothing more. Nothing special. So, but, you know, he had enough money. He could do pretty much whatever he wanted to do. Let's see. That's backside. We got a Cordis. So the next one is Cabal Lane. 512 Cabal Lane. This is Ms. Oprah Winfrey. I don't think I need to do any more discussing about her. Funny thing is that I was looking for my house at the same time that this house was for sale, but right before she bought it. And, you know, I don't know if you're anything like me, but when you're looking, you always kind of go, well, what if I won the lotto tomorrow? Click. And I had actually looked at this house and seen the interior, and oh my God, that'd be so nice. And then I find out later that Oprah bought it. It was like, anyway. So there's not really much I think that she could do from there. I don't even think there's a dock. It does look like they're trying to build something down here closer to the water. But as you can see, it's a pretty rocky beach. It's not exactly an accessible beach line. This is a little better, but it's not friendly. Let's put it this way. It's not just a sandy beach you can run a boat up on and drag a bunch of kids in. So I don't think they're actually doing anything out of here. And Orcas Island is a big island. I mean, it's this whole thing right here. I mean, it's this whole island right here. So you have to keep in mind that, no, Oprah does not own the whole island. She owns just a small portion of it. Now, I've been told that Jim Mattis, former Secretary of Defense, also has a spot up here on Orcas Island. I have not verified specifics yet. I will be working on that. Spiden Island is, again, nothing major. I mean, you got a couple small little places here. Looks like a helicopter landing spot. Nothing too crazy. Just a getaway point. And there's a boat landing. So now we get up into BC. Scott Island is the one that's owned by the Brit Royals. And that's this one right here. There we go. Some newer imagery. It makes it a little cleaner. It's obviously a fairly nice little place. It would be, yeah, that's, I mean, when you got unlimited money, that's what life gets you, and that the view there would be pretty nice because that whole area up there is just gorgeous. This whole inner inlet area up through here is just astoundingly beautiful. It's just very, very, very pretty area, especially during the summer. It's just incredibly gorgeous. This is where Gene Hackman, Echo Island, that's where he is. Again, I don't think anything's going on there because my understanding is that nobody gets in to see him. He just went there to disappear. Hey, Rapunzel. Good to see you. So that takes care of the Northwest. Now, Lanai. This is kind of interesting. Now, Lanai is not one of the small islands. I mean, it's what, the 5th biggest island on Hawaii? In Hawaii? And it is 95% owned by... Let me find it so that it's a surprise. Of course, I'm going the wrong way. Owned by Larry Ellison of Oracle. So, yeah. I mean, imagine the shenanigans that can happen there. Now, also keep in mind that Butthead, and I say that in the most polite way possible, Mark Zuckerberg owns a big chunk of property. I think it's right here. I might be off on that, though, so don't quote me on that one exactly, but it's on kind of a northwest-facing angle of one of the bigger islands. I thought that was it. Or maybe it was down here. Yeah, there was some funky stuff with that, too, because that... where Zuckerberg owns is right across the water from where Tulsi Gabbard's family had their cult thing that they were part of. And remember when the Loretta Fuddy got killed in that plane crash? She was alive when the plane crashed in the water, but then she drowned mysteriously. And there was some dude there in the water that had, the diving gear on, and, she just disappeared. That happened right out in front of Tulsi Gabbard's place and opposite of Mark Zuckerberg. So there's just a lot of funky stuff that goes on down there. I think there's a lot of clown and CIA activity that goes on down in Hawaii. Hawaii is a very, 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 very huge trafficking hub. There's a couple, 4 or 5 of them in the Pacific. It seems like the Pacific Islanders are the favorite. There's a lot of desire for that type of person. I'm trying to remember where that was exactly that happened, but anyway. So I mean, you've got, like I say, you've got Ellison that owns 95% of this island. He hasn't gotten the whole thing, but he's gotten most of it. So, which is just strange in and of itself. Let's see here. Let's go down to here. Wakaya and Vatuvara and Katafanga and Magu and Kaibu and Lakala. Yeah, that's the Fiji, down in the Fiji Island group. Again, suppose this is supposed to be a really gorgeous area. I don't know. I've never been there. Mel Gibson, Jim. Wakaya is owned by Bronfman. That is this one here is owned by the Bronfmans. And there you go. It looks like that's got quite a bit of stuff built up on it. There. Whole bunch of stuff right here. Wow, that's like a full-blown lodge type thing. So probably not a whole lot of weird stuff that goes on there. That looks like that's something that they probably rent out, but you never know. I mean, it could be on one half of the island, and down here could be a whole set of other stuff going on. So, there's an airfield. Either that goes up sharply, or that makes a bend, or my eyes are twisted. It's kind of a weird shape for a runway. Anyway. Seems like quite a drive up to where you got to go. But anyway, so we got all those. There's one here. This is Branson owns this one on the Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast. Just a little island in the middle of the river here. But, looks like probably a nice place to live in Australia. I know nobody's ever hooked Branson specifically to anything, but as much as he's wrapped up in stuff, and I mean, the fact that he calls his airlines Virgin, and I don't know, there's just, he's like he's like another Epstein Gates combo kind of to me. I don't know. There's just, we haven't seen the end of all these names. Okay, so that takes care of that portion of the world. We'll take care of these real fast because they're pretty cool. Who owned this one? Let's see here. I gotta find it. Middle East. Oh, this is a cruise line. Cruise Line owns this one. And they're obviously doing something spiffy with it. Not sure what they're doing. Probably making an oasis of some sort. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with the Palm or the World Islands, they're islands that they actually formed out of sand that dredged into these shapes. This is called the Palm. I would assume this is Palm Junior or Palm. But this one's called the World. And let me rotate it so you can kind of get a feel for it. So you've got North America, Greenland, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia. They're pretty wild. There's some that are built, obviously, and others that are not. But both Lindsay Lohan and Michael Schumacher own an island here. Michael Schumacher was gifted the island, if I remember correctly, because of his world championships in Formula One. Ferrari was big in the United Emirates, and Ferrari land is down here. And I mean, basically anything Ferrari is viewed pretty much as godly. So Michael Schumacher was there. You know, they've really venerated him. So Dubai's a really interesting town. That's for sure. So let's get the world straightened back up here. Now let's go up here to St. Petersburg, Russia. Da. Now this little triangular bugger right here, this little thing right here, is owned by Roman Abramovich. Hang on here. Let's see. Cruise lines or any of the islands could have underground stuff going on like Epstein's. Absolutely. And they could also be transfer spots, anything. You know, we've heard stories about the compartments and areas in cruise ships that, you know, regular cruise staff can't get to. But there's definitely areas in these ships. And some are, you know, pretty well hidden, or they're funky little passageways to get there and things like that. So it exists. It's real. I mean, we can deny it if we want, but it's real. And the fact that Disney's involved in it, just, you know, I mean, we know all their symbology and stuff in their movies and stuff, but the fact that they're actually actively involved in it is just even worse. And, you know, I mean, I suppose you can take that into understanding that they're probably involved with it in their, you know, their parks and stuff as well. So that's just sad. Saw tweets a few months ago of Branson in Haiti, and yes, name virgin seen as symbolic. The tweeter said he is worse than Epstein. He is higher up, and so on his islands, this is reflected in who attends his parties, I would assume. Yeah, that makes sense. Branson is definitely higher up the food chain than Epstein would have been. But yeah, I think he's just as bad, or if not worse. I mean, he's always seen with scantily clad young women. You know, that seems like it would be a pleasant thing, but you know, when you have all of these guys that seem to do this and they all seem to have the same behavior patterns, you really begin to re-examine, you know, the coolness factor of some of that stuff. Anyway, and yes, triangle is in one eye of Horus. You could even look at this as being the symbol for the sun. You can kind of see the dot there with the circle. That's one of the symbology. But anyway, that's interesting. We apparently need to do some uncovering on Branson. That's what it boils down to. As much as Epstein has gotten attention, Branson needs it just as badly, if not more. But where Epstein had 2 planes, Branson has a whole fleet of them at his disposal. So anyway, yes, Roman Abramovich has this island. Now, if I remember correctly, Roman Polanski, the director that got accused of being a pedophile, and he fled. I believe he was holed up here with Roman Abramovich, as where he was hiding out. So just to put some more stuff to the picture there. And there we go. Mediterranean. Let me get the world straight here. there is so much here in the Mediterranean, especially in the Greek Isles. I mean, there's literally hundreds of Greek islands. Now, the Greek islands are hard to buy because Greece doesn't want to let them go, but they were really hurting for money a while ago. And then it listed like 20 or something for sale, and the Emir of Qatar bought a bunch of them. But a couple other people like Johnny Depp got in, and oh yeah, that's right. Oprah was hosting stuff for Branson, wasn't she? Oh, so that's where that went. Interesting. All right. Now, some of these islands are pretty interesting. This one is not. The one I want to find here, give me just a second here, pardon me. I kind of wish I had these all memorized, but I don't, because there's just way too much here. I mean, I'm pretty good, but now everybody's seen the picture of how they were going to build Naomi Campbell's Island, and I can show you really fast what it was. But this image is as of 5/6 of 2020, and you can see that there's nothing there. Now, let me do something real quick here. Bear with me. Now, I mean, you've got people that have done this, okay? And let me rotate this so that you can get the same perspective. Okay. Turn it off so you can see, and then I'll bring this back over. Okay. There we go. So, as you can plainly see, Naomi's dream house has never been built. Her Eye of Horus house does not exist. You know, it would sit right about here. So she has the island. They haven't done jack with it. Mainly because I think right about the time that they started getting to the idea of doing it, the whole, 2016 happened and just threw such a huge monkey wrench in their works. And she obviously was one of the first ones to get targeted and kind of put to the side. So, with that in mind, it's, it's just kind of interesting. I mean, it was kind of a exceptionally symbolic, deal. I mean, you can see this was the forehead, chin, hair or headpiece or whatever, with the eye. I mean, they were trying to make it look like a face. They were trying to make it look like ISIS, I believe. But it never really happened. So, I mean, there you go. And that's what it really looks like right now. And if you're looking at the world with north to the north, well, that's what it really looks like. So you got to stretch your imagination to get to some of that, I guess. Oh, lots of people talking here. Nixon had their convention at Branson's Neck Island where they were human hunting for entertainment. Yes, Greece is the country where the pedophilia is not an offense. So let's back off here. We get all the stuff marked. Now, this is Turkey, I believe. Yes, this is Turkey. So these three islands are actually considered part of Turkey. Now over here, where these other islands are, this group here, Scorpios, Modi, blah blah blah, these are all considered part of Greece. Now we can go to our list here, and Scorpios is the Ribolos. Majority of those are owned by the Emir of Qatar. Gianni Agnelli, I believe, is further over. Strongili, which I believe is right here. Oh, I miss it. is Strongili. Maybe I gotta zoom in closer here. No. Yeah, anyway. It's around somewhere. So most of these are going to be owned by the Emir Qatar. And the Emir Qatar is obviously not a great guy. Again, this is beautiful, gorgeous area. As you can see, there's just tons of islands. I mean, the closer we zoom in, the more you can see. I mean, they're just all over. This whole region is just strewn with them. So, just something to be. I mean, everything's an island, it seems. Then we've got the ones over here. This El Gallo Lungo is owned by the Agnelli family, which is Fiat Chrysler. Ferrari, Case New Holland, a couple other things. So there's some money there. And then there's this one down here. There was another one. Excuse me. This one is the one down here is the one that's owned by the Agnelli family. This one up here, where'd it go? There it is. This is owned by the Borromea, I believe. Oh. Yeah, so Dino is Agnelli. Okay. Borromean Islands. See, I don't remember all this off the top of my head. Oh, there they are up there. Yeah. Now, this is an island in the middle of a lake. Now, this is Lake Como right here. It's Y-shaped lake. We all know about Lake Como. Lake Como is where, obviously, George Clooney has a house. Obama's been pictured there. I mean, kind of the who's who. But over here, just one lake over, 2 lakes over, is the Borromean Islands. And they are owned by a very rich heiress who she basically owns all this. And I mean, it's quite the to-do if you look at this. I mean, you can see this is almost, what do you want to call that? Vatican-like. You got this big courtyard and this big area here and this big house here, and it takes up the whole damn island. This is another one. And this is another one. I mean, they're all of them are theirs. So it's nice, I guess, to have money. The price is too high for me, though. Okay, we're going to move up here to the England area. Speaking of George and Amal Clooney, they own this little thing right here. I was actually, somebody reached out to me the other day and mentioned that they lived real close to the Sonning Eye, and were telling me about the George and Amal Clooney had an island there. I'm like, yep, I'm aware. They say, yeah, we live real close there. So, which one do you know? I'm sorry, you're gonna have to remember island names or something, because again, there's a delay between when I see and what I've done. So now, again, this is a little island. As you can see, there's a little passage through here. This actually goes over the water. This is kind of cool. It's like a house that's built over the water. It's kind of wild. So that might be part of the allure to it. St. Tudwalls is where Bear Grylls has his place. Like I say, it's pretty Spartan. I mean, there's not much there. It's just a little compound. So probably just his way of getting away. She could be. I'm not going to comment one way or the other on that. It's not my place. Brickhow. I'm trying to remember who owns Brickhow. Give me a second here. Oh, the Barclay brothers. That's right. Remember, it's really big in the UK, and Rabbit Leader will be able to speak to this. The Barclays are a big name in the UK, and this is their little private island that they have. I mean, it looks like it's just a horrible place to spend some time. Looks like there's actually quite a bit of freaking money tied up in that. If you zoom in and start looking at stuff. It's pretty wild. I mean, it's got a tower, with a, crenellated top. Wow. That's saying something. Almost not quite fortress-like, but I wouldn't want to storm that, that's for sure. Not coming up from the water anyway. And then, if we get done with that, down here in the Desertus Islands, trying to remember who has this, and I think it's Spielberg. Yeah, this was kind of a guess on my part because I could never find for sure what island it was he had. So it's one of these, and I don't know. It's not really a place I'd want to be living. I mean, it's pretty barren. There's no greenery. There's no. Oh, well, there's a spot. There's a house. That looks pretty basic to me. I'm not saying that that's not what they wouldn't want to have, but it just seems very strange for somebody that potentially has Spielberg's kind of money. But I mean, we all know Spielberg's got some tendencies, and he's out here. This is out here a ways out. This is, we're talking. Well, I mean, there's my Atlantis find right there. And, he's out here that far. I mean, that's quite a ways out. So now the one I didn't hit was this one down here. This is the one that Ricky Martin owns. Ilha Domaya. Domaya, I guess. This is Ricky Martin's place. Not bad. I mean, it's not overly done or anything. So, I don't know about Ricky Martin. I don't want to, he's, I don't know. I guess because of his star status, he's probably suspect. So, hard to say. And you guys could be right, Jane and Tammy. It's entirely possible. Although underground at sea level is a little tougher than most people realize because of water tables and stuff like that. I would be more inclined to think that there was something from the hill that went, was underground. But, there's all sorts of stuff. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff worldwide. I mean, we can go and hit every one of these if you want, but it's just, this would take forever. There's a lot of information here. I mean, especially up in here. I mean, as you can see, there's just, and some of these are just not even habitable. I mean, you can tell they're not even habitated. I mean, you got some sort of little pathways here, but I don't even think there's a house on that island. So that's an island that somebody, Strangers K. Let's see who owns Strangers K. Uh, oh, that's the one Jay-Z and Beyonce bought together. So this was images from 5 of 2020. So just, a few months ago, 6 months ago. I think they were planning on making this into a resort type thing. They very well could have been working on that, but obviously, at this point, their money's probably pretty tied up elsewhere, if not. Um, yeah. Airstrip. Are you talking about this little brown area here? No, that's most likely a standing water pond or bog or something like that. That's not an airstrip. So, looks like they maybe start clearing there for something, but there's no. Let me go back one section here. Okay, so that's a natural. Yeah, and that clearing I thought they were doing is probably just another low spot. So, but that's back 5 years ago. So, and it looks like the imagery that we're looking at is 2016. It's not 2020. So, just as so that's actually not that current. Sometimes it doesn't give you real accurate info up here right away. Castaway K. Oh, well, gee. There you go. Guess we know who owns that one. Yeah, and there's that possibility too, Jane. I mean, we don't know. We're relying on just our eyeballs. I will tell you that it's pretty obvious when something's been covered. I can get into some areas here. Let's get away from this. Just because I happened to realize this the other day, and this actually will show us a couple different versions of it. Bonneville Salt Flats, which you would think is not that big of a deal. Why would they go to any sort of trouble to cover anything up? But as you can see, the satellite imagery is pretty cut up here, and we've got 1, 2, 3 different types of imagery going on here. And what the hell? I mean, why would they need to do that? And as you get closer, it changes and shifts around, and now all of a sudden you can see that imagery, but it's just a game that they play, and they're purposely hiding things. This has actually changed since I saw it just the other day. Now look at this. Here's a perfect example of what I was going to illustrate. You see this? It's almost like somebody just is photoshopping really badly in this area, in these areas. You can see the pass marks side to side. You see all sorts of garbage. I mean, this whole area is just filled with that. Why would they bother? What are they trying to hide? It's just the salt flats. It's nothing critical or big. I mean, it's fine when you zoom out, but as soon as you try to get some detail, boom, it goes crazy. So that's when you start beginning to wonder what they're trying to hide. Is when you see that kind of behavior as far as the satellite imagery goes. That's it jumps out at you and makes you go, huh? Especially in an area like that where supposedly there's nothing. I mean, they race in the Bonneville Salt Flats. They race this. So, pardon me. This, there's nothing there that theoretically should be hidden because, I mean, it's the Great Salt Lake there, and there's, Salt Lake City, and I mean, it's all right there. What's the big deal? I mean, you got a highway that runs right here. Another one that runs across up here, if I remember right. Or maybe that's not a highway, that's train tracks, I think. No, that's a road. No, that's train tracks. but there's a road next to it, dirt road. So I mean, it just makes you question why would they go to the trouble to do that, you know, when it's accessible and stuff like that. So anyway. All right. Well, that's islands. So, I mean, it's not as fun or exciting necessarily as Antarctica. It's not as damning as Antarctica. It's not as cool as Antarctica. But I think it's an important thing. And I think it's actually something that it's a tool that we need to be maybe potentially using more and working with, because I think there's a lot there that we have not discovered or explored. So, oh, you've been on the Bonneville Salt Flats? Saw nothing, huh? Yeah, there's nothing out there. I mean, you can see for 50 miles without any problems. It's perfectly flat. So, not sure what the big mystery is, but when they start doing stuff like that, it makes you scratch your head and go from there. And I've had this dig done for well over a year. I've published this a couple times, maybe not to the detail that I have here, and maybe this is what it's going to take to get awareness of it out there. People see the depth of it and how far it is. Am I confident that all these islands are actually on Google Earth? Oh yeah, every one of them. I've actually scrolled to every one of them. Peter Nygaard right there, Nygaard K. You can zoom right in. Let's go up to some newer imagery here. You can kind of see the progression of how he built it. There's that's his little thing right there, where he had his little parties. And then we've got the Bahamas, that's obviously a Corey's Dig mark there. Bonds K, let's just go to it real fast. I mean, I actually made sure that every one of these that I did, I actually made sure it tagged directly to an island. I didn't want it and a lot of them did. They just hung out right in the middle of the ocean. And so I actually had to physically adjust every marker so that it landed on an island. Some were still a little off, but they all do correspond directly to an island. So I've actually looked at every one of these. So, I mean, that's how I ended up with this list, is I actually physically looked at every one of them. The other thing that would be really neat is to come up with boat names and airplane tail numbers of all these other people too, because I mean, I didn't go as far as I could have at that. There's a lot of information there. So anyway, and if you guys ever get bored and that's the kind of thing that you enjoy doing, then dig into some of this stuff. Get me the info and I can add it to the list. I don't have a problem with that. So, I didn't. There's only one place. Nothing in New Zealand. Sorry, RP. The only thing down under is Makepeace on in Australia, which is owned by Branson, and then there's these ones out here by Fiji, which isn't too far away from you. But I haven't gotten down and dug on your guys' stuff. I mean, if you can find me some names. Of people and island names and get them to me, I'm more than happy to dig on it and get it added to the list. I have no problems with that. In fact, that's what I want. I want to make this as complete as possible. So Jane, digging's just real easy. A lot of times it's just a function of using the right thing. DuckDuckGo, head out and picking up, say you're bored one day and you were down here in New Zealand, say, and those aren't even really islands. Let's find an island here to work with. All right, let's say you pick the Chatham Islands. Okay, you can look at that and you can go into your DuckDuckGo and just type in who owns Chatham Islands. Okay. And it may not tell you anything. And you may have to narrow it down. Who owns Chatham Islands, New Zealand? Who owns Chatham Islands, South Pacific? Things like that. You may have to come up with the right wording. And then you just start looking at your research results, and pretty soon it's just a path, and you just have to follow it, and you'll get the information that you're looking for. But there's always a start point. So, are you on Twitter, RP? If you are, you can just send me information there. Just DM it to me. If not, then don't be afraid to drop a note in here in the YouTube message. I don't get them as quickly there, but I do get them. Yeah, I hear that the salt flats are really disorienting when you're on them, when you're racing. I know a couple guys that have done it. So yeah, if you're on Twitter, just go to Snarkish Dano and drop me a line, and I'm no problems. My DMs are open. I might just give you a thumbs up or a nod or a smile or a heart or whatever, acknowledge that I saw it. But I try to get to all of them. So I am getting quite a bit busier as I get more followers. So my apologies if I don't always, if I'm not as verbose as I once was. It's not always possible. So, but yeah, if you send me that stuff and tell me it's for the Islands dig, I'll snag it, add it in, look at it, and if it all fits in, I'll go for it. And like I say, yachts, you find yachts of the rich and famous, and we find out that they own an island. That's the kind of thing that I'm interested in. I want that information. So, multiple eyes is better than one set. There's only so much I can do. And as you guys know, I spend a lot of time doing this, and to the detriment of a lot of things. But, it would be nice to have other eyes on some of this stuff too, and people looking. And it's nice that you guys are doing that. That's awesome. And that's just something that you guys can easily dive into, because this is, not hard to find. It's just a lot of information that you have to dig for. So, and it's a good start for digging practice too. Any other questions here? Costa Rica. I don't know. Well, I mean, kinda. We got these down here. I mean, do you have any specifics you're thinking of, Tombstone? I never did find out who owns San Andres. It doesn't look like that's a who. It looks like it's just a... Most of the ones that were in Corey's digs are not going to be independently owned. They were going to be owned by, they're going to be governments and stuff like that, just because they've got, multiple people on it. These were these power station things that the sorry, that the Clintons were doing. And so they would be more directed towards, larger groupings of people versus just, a guy that owns his own thing. Nicola Peninsula. Is that this right here? Ah, there we go. Are you thinking these islands in here? Well, there's San Lucas and there's Chira. Well, that's actually got towns. I don't think anybody's going to own those. Well, there's all sorts of little stuff down here, isn't there? Look like anybody lives on that one. Or that one. It's a pretty shallow bay, too. Does that even get... Is that totally empty out at times? Sure looks like it could. Doesn't look like there's much on there. There's a dock. There's some, but that's just, well, it's not a dock. That's just beach boats. But it looks like there's a couple of houses there. So that one might be worth digging on. Oh, no, there's more there. Yeah, that's like a community type thing. So I would say there's another one there. See them all down through here. That's wild. They are different. Okay. These are all kind of rocky. I'm not going to say that there's probably a lot of a runway down in this area. Remember where specifically? On the peninsula? I'm zoomed out a little far for runways to jump out. Southern end of peninsula. Big runway. There's a big runway. It'll jump out at us here pretty fast. And guys, this is a lot of what this Google Earth thing is about. It's just about scanning. It's really, really boring. So don't think that this is all glamorous and fun and rock stars and, champagne parties. And it's just a lot of basically just sitting here and staring at stuff. Southern end, east of. So up in here. Okay. Now, was it on an island or? Did you say Montezuma? On the coast of Montezuma. Montezuma or Montezuma? So on the coast of Montezuma. So let's start down here. I thought I already did all this, but I might have missed it. You got to kind of have a pretty big area to have a big runway, though. And there's Montezuma here, Montezuma Beach. All right, Montezuma. I thought I looked all this over. Maybe I'm just being blind. I mean, this looks kind of interesting, but it's not a runway. I mean, it's a big beach, though. Well, it's one hell of a beach. But I just don't see a big runway down here. Going up the coast, to the right or to the left? I'm going to assume you mean right. It's right on the ocean. All right. This one? Is that the one you're talking about? It's actually not that long of a runway. That's only 2,700 feet. That's small craft. That's not a real huge one. It's a cool runway, but it's obviously servicing this community over here of a little bit, and whatever this is here. Oh, whatever this is here. Yeah, that's the lifestyles of the rich and famous type thing. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me based on what I'm seeing there. Looks like a good place to spend some time. Out of my price range, but hey, guy can dream. I don't know what this is here. Let's see if we can. There's pictures of this. Hotel Playa Tambor. Oh, that looks just horrid. I don't know how. I don't think I could survive there. Yeah. I mean, there's places like that all over the world, I'm sure. So, would be nice, but I'm not willing to pay the price necessary to get there. Those prices are a little too high for me. So, go fishing with a drone and a pole. Yeah, I'd lose both a pole and a drone that way. My luck, I'd hook a whale or something and just jerk the stuff underwater. All right. Anybody else got anything they want to talk about or discuss? Or I'm just going to throw it wide open at this point. Doesn't even have to be map related. The answer is too many, Muncie. There is no right answer to that one. Oh, wow. That's a nice little area. It's got its own little sheltered bay and everything. That's something. I bet that's quite the spot. Oh, I see. You're just saying go just fly the drone out there and see if you can spot fish. Gotcha. That'd be kind of fun. That'd be entertaining. And yes, RP1 is too many. That's why I said the price is too high. No matter what you do, it doesn't matter. Message deleted by the Google moderator team. Jeez. Okay, that's interesting. First time I've seen that. What do I think the true use of the pyramids is? Wow. That's a tough one. You're visible, by the way. Well, it's, yeah, you're right in the camera, but anyway. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm interested in what Angie had to say. I've never seen a message deleted like that. Yeah, so try it a different way. I want to see what you had to ask, Angie. And yes, I'm not surprised that we're going to start seeing the phone carriers starting to get more involved in the censoring. Oh, it's only a matter of time. You know, it's just how they're going to do it. They're going to lock us down as much as they can. You know, and that's why we have to support what Trump is doing as much as we can, because the only way past it is to get through it. So. And my idea for the true use of the pyramids is, right now, I'm not sure I have a solid answer. There's a lot of theories, from electrical generation to monument to, there's no way it's a tombstone. That's just no way. My feeling is that it is more along the lines of I'm trying to think of how I can phrase this that makes sense. It's kind of an interesting formation. I believe that they're very much more along the lines of a combination of historical artifacts and basically a combination of a tombstone or a tomb, an area to store things. Because some of the smaller pyramids definitely are tomb like. They're not, they're not like the Great Pyramids where there's no nothing in them at all. You get up here and I mean, these are some pretty damn big pyramids. I mean, we know this, but I've never looked at the alignment of that. That's interesting. Anyway, yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's so much missing that we don't know about them, be it, their final construction. Were they fully covered in limestone? Did they have capstones for the whole thing, or was it just the top quarter? There's a lot of stuff. So I think that's part of that stuff that we're going to get disclosed to us later. And I sincerely hope so, because there's a lot of interest in it by a lot of people, including me. Well, we can chat about 13 families. That's fine. I have some info, not others. Yes, truckers threatening to stop barking after Thanksgiving. Definitely, and I've been saying this for a while now. Keep a couple, 2-3 weeks worth of supplies on hand at all times. Just restock up every week. It's going to get to and you're better off doing it now than later on when everybody else has come to the same realization. Because what will happen is at a certain point that, we're going to run into toilet paper shortages and crap like that again. We're already got bullet shortages and things like that. So, and it's getting a little easier to find guns. But, and yes, Dan Bongino does own Parlor. So what's your question, Angie, about the 13 families? If Bongino ignored him, there was a good reason. So take your cue from that. And who are the 13 families? They are the 13 bloodline families of the Illuminati. Some call them the 13 dark bloodlines, the 13 papal bloodlines. Basically, they're the ruling families. They're the ones that the royalty answers to. You've look up Fritz Springmeier. Actually, here, I'll do it for you guys. I'll just include it in the chat here. Give me a second here. Oops, got to follow my own rules here. There's your link to go get a copy of it if you want. The families of the Illuminati. It's a good thing to have. My thoughts on the Merovingians. I'm kind of at a mixed point right now with the Merovingians. On one hand, they have the highest ranking with the Luciferian Illuminati 13 bloodlines. On the flip side, we're also told that potentially the Merovingians are the descendants of Christ. And that's what they believe. Now, do yourself a favor, RP. That might disappear. So right click and open a new tab for yourself. And that way you can grab it after. That way it doesn't disappear. Back to the Merovingians. So there's some conflicting information there as far as I'm concerned. If the 13 bloodlines, sorry, I'm pulling yawns today, guys. The 13 bloodlines, if the Merovingians truly are the most venerated family, there's a reason for that. And I'm not sure it's because it's Christ's bloodline. As much as I hate to say that, I really think that the Merovingians are the premier satanic bloodline. But if that's the case, it means that all the French kings, all that whole line, that whole story that we've been told is false. It's not about Jesus. It's about Lucifer. which is the kind of crap that they love to do. So, as far as the Collins, I mean, I don't think any of them are decent. I think they all play their game. Now, are you talking about somebody that you're liable to meet on the street? This last name of Collins? Yeah, I think they're probably fine. They probably have no clue who they are. They probably have no idea what their background is. You know, I've known Sinclairs. I've known a number of those last names, and none of them were part of the plan. I mean, this is only narrow parts of these families. So, sorry again. I think you're okay. I don't think that there's anything that they would worry about, unless you have a specific reason to worry about somebody. Then I wouldn't. So, oh, it is strange, definitely. But you know, we can only work with the information that we have, and I think the best line that we all need to pay attention to, and the best thing that we can all do, is the phrase "trust but verify." You know, discern, use your discernment. You know, figure it out. Don't let somebody make the choices for you, because that's when you run into problems. For sure. Good job, RP. Now you can go back and read it whenever you want. It's good information to have. It tells you a lot about what's going on right now. Thousand Islands? Well, it's just cheesy dressing made up of mayonnaise, ketchup, and relish. Other than that, no, I haven't heard anything about that. I actually can trace my history back to English royalty. Um, it's much easier to trace your history back to the tribes of Judah. Um, I believe that the 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati is a perversion of the tribes of Judah. Um, Basically, on one hand, you have the godly tribes, which not all of them are. But on the other hand, sorry. On the other hand, you've got the bloodlines of the Illuminati, and you know they're always playing their as above, so below games, and they're doing their bits about perversion of good and things like that. You know, black is white. You know, left is right, up is down. You know, I mean, we see that in today's society. You know, with with transvestites or not transvestites, transsexuals, and you know all these people. You know, I mean, we don't know what we are. Yeah, we do. We've just adopted and allowed to have these other ideas adopted that don't make any sense. So, if you guys got a second, I want to show you something here. I'm stuck on the Sphinx for a reason. I want to see if I can find a lion. I want to see if I can find a particular set of images here. So bear with me. And it might take some time. Oh, beautiful. Perfect. Okay, and then we'll do. You guys can't see what I'm doing. Sorry. Give me just a minute here, and you'll get a idea of what's going on. What the hell? Ugh. The Saluki. There's something that's been told to me, and I want to see if it holds true, but I got to find the right image to be able to make it work. And it's a difficult thing because rarely is this pose taken of animals. Basically a picture of them from the top as they're laying flat, laying, you know, kind of crouched, ready to go. Do, do, do. Okay, this is probably as close as I'm going to get. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to drag this over. Okay. Now, can you see? Here's the Sphinx. Okay. Make sure it's visible there. Okay. Now there's a picture of a lion from the top down. Now, everybody has always stated that they felt that this was a lion. Scholars have stated this and such. But I've never felt right about calling that a lion body. And the reason why is if you look at how thin this body is in this area, a lion's body does not thin down along the sides at all. A lion's body is very square in the way it sits. Okay. Now let's take a look at this real quick. Now this is a greyhound. Now, and again, this is a very difficult picture to come up with because how many times do we take pictures of your dog from above? You don't. But as you can see how the hips of the dog are way out here. If you imagine a Saluki or an Anubis, which is what I'm after, or a greyhound type shape, then you'll see where they would have the wide shoulders, they'd come in, and then they kick back out for the hips, plus the paws laying straight out. And these paws have always been a little strange, and they've been added on to and messed with and screwed up all over the years. What the hell? Sometimes I should probably not leave that off. Sorry about that, guys. Anubis. I'm looking for a figure. Here you go. We'll just utilize this one. Now look at how that's situated. Okay. Now let's take and let's look for a picture of Sphinx. Wow. The heck is going on here? That was wild. Okay, let's see if I can find a similar pose. Somebody's got a picture of the whole thing. Go with this one. Okay. Now, you see how you got the tall chest, you got the back, you got the narrowed through here, you got the hips sticking out here, you got the feet to the side, you got the legs forward. This was never a lion. This was always an Anubis. And they've done the math, and I've actually got a book on this. And based on the size of this Sphinx, if we scaled an Anubis up to that size, the neck area here would be able to contain the current Sphinx head, meaning there's enough material there. So the top head of the Sphinx is gone, or the Anubis is gone. And it makes more sense because the Anubis is the guardian to the underworld, which the whole Giza area is called what? The Giza necropolis. So what people need to realize is that what we've been told about Egyptian history in a lot of cases is just a fabrication. It's a lie. I mean, it's just an outright falsehood. And I could actually play with these. I need to find a little bit better angle, but I could play with these and overlay it so that you could see it. But I mean, it's even got the tail looped up on the same side, almost in the same way. You know, where's the big poofta at the end of a tail of a lion? Well, you don't have that because this is not a tail of a lion. It's a tail of a freaking dog. So anyway, just something I wanted everybody to see, because I just happened to see that we had a nice overhead shot of the Sphinx. And, well, anyway, here you go. Ricky Martin's got a lot of money. Tombstone. I think he's a billionaire. I mean, he may not be popular in the States, but man, in Latin America, that boy, he makes bank. So anyway, anything else you guys got, or I think we should probably wrap this up. We're, coming up on 2 hours now. Oh yeah, we know that we know that we don't know, or we know that what they're telling us is not right. So there's Egypt in and of itself is full of other things that we need to figure out, and we will eventually. Um, you know, it's pretty amazing that what's been hidden from us. You're not going to get 5 hours. Stop it. I'm not doing that. Not on any of the topics that we got right here. I might be able to do it on Antarctica, but that's going to have to be an open discussion topic one. It'll be a little easier if I can get maybe some help on the on doing this. Everybody I've noticed has got 2 or 3 people doing this. I'm just like, I'm here by myself. Wait a minute, what's going on? So, well, I appreciate you guys coming out. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you seeing what we got going on. I know today's wasn't necessarily as exciting as normal, but Trump signed an EO to teach real history. That's wonderful. The biggest thing you're going to find is getting the history books that actually show it. Yeah, I do think Bush Sr. was really in charge after the Reagan assassination attempt. The Bushes were definitely in on it, so there's no doubt about that in my head at all. The Bushes were responsible for JFK's assassination. They were responsible for putting Reagan in his place. The Bushes have been the um, of the source of much of the evil. So that's the thing that most people don't understand. Hey, Angie, let me throw this thought out there. Remember that when the pyramids were built, they would not have lined up with Orion's belt because the positioning of the stars would have been different. So they were either purposely built to line up with Orion's belt now as a way of measuring time, or they were aligned to something else. Anubis, aka the Sphinx, was actually pointing towards not Leo, but Virgo, if I remember correctly, and there's some significance to that. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Tombstone. I do believe that this is going to be a very interesting week. What do we have? What do you got, Rabbit? One question for your pre-show mission: double chained up or such like that. How can they trap it if it's a fifth, sixth? And who trapped it? Please. Well, yes, Jane nailed it. God trapped it. God limited it because whatever level Satan is, God's one more level above. And even the Luciferians acknowledge that God is above Lucifer. So they call him the creator, but they think he's just unreachable and not even part of this plane. So, it's they don't think he'll bother with us because he's too unreachable, too massive. So that's why they've chosen Lucifer, because he's the next strongest, and he's definitely the strongest of that level. So, yeah, I saw the King's. I was a kid when I saw the King Tut stuff back in the 70s. Came through Seattle too, and it was pretty interesting. And even as a kid, it kind of stuck with me. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why I'm so fascinated in that stuff now. Thank you, Angie. Appreciate that. It's. Does anyone other than Gene Decode do digs into dumbs? I do, but I am much more critical of them than Gene is. He will accept anything as a dumb, where I am much more better prove it to me. There's got to be some realism there. It's really easy to say that, there's, what's the number I've heard bandied about? 1,700 of them worldwide. Well, okay, I suppose that's possible, but it doesn't seem very likely to me. Gene has actually done a show on one of my threads. So, I mean, they're very familiar with me, and I'm somewhat familiar with them, and I like them. They're good enough people, and they're trying to do the right thing, but I think they're a little bit more dramatic and going for the shock value than I am willing to do. I just want the truth. I don't care if it's right or wrong as far as people are concerned. I just want the truth. And if that means that there's only 20 dumbs in the country, then that's fine. The fact that there's one is astounding. We shouldn't necessarily have, be worried about the fact that there's, a gazillion or not. It is what it is. Any thoughts on what there were in the envelopes at the funeral? I think the envelopes at the funeral were, how did Q phrase it? Because he was asked this and he responded, our promise to counter. Meaning that was Q's way of taunting them and saying, haha. As far as specifics, I have no idea. No, I have not done a video on him, RP. I could. I'd be interested to know who the Aussie woman was that did him. I'd like to hear about the Australian dumbs. So, because I don't have any information on that. And maybe I'll do a dumb show because I do have, it's the dumb show, starring dumb. Anyway, there's a lot of interesting stuff I can prove and not prove. I would have to put it all together and find all my notes and put it all together in one area again because it's kind of spread out right now amongst a couple different thread spots. But I could certainly do that. Maybe that's what we should do next week is dumbs. Everybody's going to be expecting, gene level of stuff, but I really just don't go there. I don't know. There's enough discrepancies in the information that I don't like to just accept it all as truth without some evidence. Everybody's talking about that cluster of earthquakes up in Idaho. It's got to be a dumb. It's got to be a dumb. Well, it doesn't match any dumb that anybody has listed, and the depths and stuff and where it is, it doesn't make sense. And, with my background in earthquakes and plate tectonics and stuff like that and knowledge of geology, it's going to be pretty hard to sell me on one, especially if I don't think it's supposed to be there. Don't tell me there's supposed to be one in the middle of an active volcano. I know better. I know how the volcanoes are constructed. Sorry, you can't do it. Extinct? Yeah, that's fine. I don't care because you're not going to have any problems. But, nobody's going to want to have a magma tube running right through the middle of their freaking house. It just doesn't work that way. So anyway, but yes, if that's HEV, she's actually covered my stuff quite a bit, and that might be what you're thinking of. There's a gal that's down there that I don't remember if she's Aussie or New Zealand, Kiwi. But I've got her on my channel. If you go to playlists, there's a gal that she's looked up quite a few of the threads that she's covered of mine, and you might be able to find it there. I haven't even read them. I haven't even watched them. I don't have the 7 hours to burn. So, and Angie, that's exactly how you've got to be right now. You've got to be open to everything and anything. The rule is logic and discernment. If it doesn't add up logically, then throw it out. If it passes a logic test, whether or not it seems right or wrong or goes against what you think, it's got to be the truth. And we have to be willing to accept that. So far, all the truths have fallen down against the other side, against the bad guys. Well, at some point, the truths are going to start coming against us too. And that's the thing that we're going to have a lot of problems with a lot of people understanding is that we don't have it all. We definitely don't have it all. And we need to reassess how we look at things. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, it's amazing. The where we go one, where we go all has got there's levels of nuance and meaning and depth to that we have yet to explore. It truly does mean exactly what it says. All right. Well, yeah, I guess it is Monday where you are. Sorry. And think about that. Maybe I should move this to Saturdays so all my down under friends can watch too. I forget that here I am sitting in my little room in the corner of Washington State, not realizing that I'm reaching worldwide right now, and it doesn't takes a little reassessing in the brain to make that work. So I'll rethink that a little bit. Maybe Saturdays are going to be a better choice. I was just hope Sunday's more of a relaxed day. So what do I mean by we don't have it all? Meaning we, as in Anons, don't have all the information. We certainly are digging for it. We are certainly looking for it. But our history has been hidden from us. Our truth has been hidden from us. So much has been hidden from us. And, it's something that, we need to just be aware of, that we don't have all the information, especially about our past. And that be it history or religion or science or any of these other topics that we think that we have a firm grasp on, we don't. We're going to learn that we don't know as much as we nearly think we do. And we need to all be prepared for that and open for that. And that's one of the things I'm trying to do, is prepare people mentally for that thought process, because it's going to be very difficult for some people. So, try it out for Down Unders to see who makes it and shift accordingly. I might. I've got a lot of guys from Down Under that follow me, so it's definitely a possibility. I don't want to, I can't cater to one or the other, but if I can cater to everybody, then I certainly will try to do so. Too very dramatic and sensualized, but not too, everything can be dumb. And you get to the point where it's not even dumb at all. Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute. I try not to be dramatic and sensational. Oh my gosh. I can play that game, but it just doesn't suit me very well. I agree with you, Tammy. If you're looking for new Q recommendations, Q Ag, that's here. I'll just put it in here. I'll type it in for you guys. qag.news is where you want to go now. That's the best one. The search function there is, oh my God, it's unbelievable. It's so nice. The way they've got it set up, it works so well. It's very powerful. It gets the job done. Not a lot of erroneous hits. It just gives you the information you're looking for. I've been able to do so much better with this new one than I ever was with QMap. Much as I like QMap, this new one has been so much better. Well, technically, so are we. So you're stuck there, Rabbit. Sorry. You're supposedly the head of the colonies, but yeah, we've taken your power. I'm sorry. Besides, P-51 was better. And only built in 47 days. But yes, we did have to go to the Brits to get an engine that would work. So I'll concede that. Yes, QAG has a camouflage option too. But the only problem I have with that camouflage option is sometimes it makes the text unreadable. Oh, geez. First arrest. That one always comes up. I come at this question from a completely different angle than a lot of people do. I come at it as, who would be the most shocking? The most shocking is going to be somebody close to Trump, somebody that is not political as far as not a Democrat, somebody that nobody suspects, somebody or a position that is known worldwide. Oh, it's okay, Gene. It's a tough one. Because it's a speculation completely. I don't have any sauce. I don't have anything I can point to and say, this is it. But looking back on it, I mean, people say John Brennan. Nobody knows who Brennan is. I mean, we do as Anons. A few of the normies know, but I mean, worldwide, nobody knows who he is or gives a damn. Everybody expects Hillary Clinton. I mean, that's not going to shock anybody. Everybody knows that she's a crook. I mean, that's, a good portion of the population knows that. Same with Obama. At this point, there's no question that Obama is, dirty, and the world is waking up to that quickly. So again, it's not going to be a shock. Same with the Pope. Right now, the Pope is so, I mean, he's pretty much known to be a dirty guy and not a genuine pope. So again, I don't think he's it. Kissinger is well known to the Gen Xers and older, but nobody younger than that knows who the hell he is. And he might have been worldwide a while ago, but not anymore. My thought is Pence. I really do think it's going to be Pence. There's too much rumor and too much evidence of dirt on him in the past. And it's just going to be one of those things where it's going to come out of nowhere. And that's the thing that's going to be. Bush 911. Again, too obvious. Half the world suspects that. Just the Pence thing would just rock everybody. And again, my thing is Trump is Sun Tzu epitomized. And what's Sun Tzu's big thing? Keep your friends close. Keep your enemies closer. Yeah, most people in the UK wouldn't know who Pence is, but everybody in the world knows who the Vice President of the United States is. And Pence also got the envelope, exactly, or his wife did. So there's just a couple things that point that, it is an issue. Maybe Pence personally isn't well known worldwide, but the fact that it's the Vice President of the United States worldwide is known. That's going to shake a lot of people up. Everybody's going to stand up and pay attention. That would be interesting if it was the Queen. Yeah, they're going to say Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence or whatever. I'm sure that they'll do that appropriately in the countries that need it that way. As far as the Ark of Gabriel being shipped to Antarctica and placed in the Trinity Church, I'm sure it has to do with some end time prophecy that they were given. The thing that everybody's got to remember is that both the Russian Orthodox Church and the Pope definitely had documentation that they gave to the Patriarch Kirill so that he could safely deal with the Ark. And whatever they found out where it needed to be. Supposedly it needs to be present during the end times. Well, present where? At the final battle point. The final battle point is where they took it. Well, that's kind of interesting because they took it to Antarctica. So that just kind of falls in with everything that I was putting together. And one of the reasons why I added it to the story, because it kind of suits everything that I was coming up with. So, and I agree. I'm not 100% sold that it's Pence. There's definitely other people it could be. But here's the thing that people forget. The one name I've never heard thrown out there for who is P. What name did we just use? I don't know. Seems coincidental to me. There's no coincidences in this thing. None. So, yeah, the envelope has never been addressed publicly other than the fact of who received them. And the only person that was even slightly thought to be clean that received it was Pence. But everybody else was dirty as all get out. And we know this wasn't an invitation to some after funeral, orgy. So, president's only after funeral orgy. So, I mean, but at this point, I don't know that the Pope or the Queen are going to be really shocking. I mean, maybe I'm a little jaundiced because, I'm an anon and I've known that they're both dirty for so long. Maybe I'm not looking at this from the standpoint of a now the Dalai Lama is a very, very, very good possibility because we know that he's dirty. But the world hasn't really woke up to that yet. And they have kept him out of the news. So that's a very good one. Yeah, that'd be a huge one. That would be very, 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 yeah, that would be a good one to wake people up. But I don't think it'd be quite as shocking as Pence. But yeah, you heard me right, graffiti. And I do realize that most of the world is not aware of Q. Honestly, I think that the awareness of Q is higher than we think it is. I think that it's a greater percentage of the population than we think that it is, but it's still not as pervasive as we want it to be or we could be. And Lisa, that's exactly what it is. You just summed up the Great Awakening for the last 2 years, and until we get to the point where everybody's awoken that can be awoken, everything that we've seen done, including the election, the COVID, the riots, all of it, is planned and set so that it's about waking the normies. And if that's it, that's the bottom line. That's the whole reason that it's there, is it's there to wake the normies. And that's the primary reason that we're here, is we're here to support that. So hi, RJ. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I mean, you don't have to tell me about people that are asleep. I mean, I live in Washington State, and Washington State's got its head so far up its PQ that it's amazing that they can get anything done. I don't know if you guys can hear that. We got some planes playing around outside. Old propeller planes, not not jets. Anyway, but there's so much going on. The crazy's still got to ratchet up a few more notches. We're not at the point yet where they can let it go. Did you guys hear that? Told you they buzz my house every once in a while. That wasn't the P-51. I'm not sure what that was, but there's a P-51 that buzzes my house every once in a while. They got a Sky Radio that does that too, but that wasn't it either. That was just a no need. I know what it is. I'm actually friends with the mechanic for all the planes, so I know who they are. But anyway, all right, guys, we got anything else? Yeah, Pence is one of the club, and people got to remember Trump didn't pick Pence himself. Pence was foisted on Trump by the Republican Party. So I don't think that it's going to be. I really don't know. I don't want to think it's going to be Pence, but man, everything's telling me that it is. So it's strange, RP. It's nice that you can have a discussion about it, but the thing that we've got to stop doing, and people have got to stop doing to themselves and their families, is trying to force the issue. If your family is not ready for it, don't push it. If your relationships aren't ready for it, don't push it. It's not worth tearing families and relationships apart about. The thing that you've got to understand is that everybody has their point of awakening, and you being a family member and or a spouse is the last place that, I mean, I know that my wife never listens to me, so I can't imagine that anybody else's spouse is any better. So, you know, the last place they're going to look to for that initial awareness is you. So it's best to just keep your tongue, you know, I mean, drop hints once in a while, maybe, but don't pursue the issue if it doesn't get accepted. Um, they know that you believe that. And when they're at the point of being ready to accept it and talk about it, they'll come to you. And that's where we need to be ready. We need to be ready to be conciliatory, and you know, no rubbing their noses in it, none of that crap. We've got to be above that. We've got to be better people. We've got to show people that we're better than that, and we are. You know, I mean, God, it would be so nice to be able to rub some of these idiots' nose in it, you know, and I'm not talking family members or anything, I'm just talking in general. But we can't. We just can't do that. We've got to be better at that. So it's important for us to keep that in mind as we go forward. So yeah, I mean, it certainly has made getting rid of casual friends very easy, because so many are very very hard to deal with, and you're finding out it's a lot better to have actual friends than it is to have a bunch of, you know, nothings. So, all right, guys, anything else? No, we're past the 2 hour mark now, and I think I'm gonna call it a day. I'm getting hungry, so I need to go get myself some food. Fat guy, I gotta stay, you know, gotta keep the fire stoked. I haven't eaten today, so it's a bad thing. So anyway, appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the comments. It's nice having you guys around, and you guys take care of yourselves. And Brina, you're very right. Pray for our country and the world, and pray for Anons too, and those in harm's way. You know, pray for the POTUS and you know, General Flynn, Sidney Powell right now too, Rudy Giuliani. So, thanks, guys. I appreciate it, and you know, it's good having you around. And don't be afraid to reach out if you got any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. You know, just drop me a DM or whatever, and I'll do my best. And I don't always get to them right away, but I will get to it eventually. So, all right, have a good one. Talk to you guys later, and y'all be safe out there.